With me now is an education consultant, Dr. Peter Ogundoro, to speak on the education sector and the journey so far. 65 years of existence. How would you say the sector has evolved? Are we growing? The data that my colleague shared seem to be somewhat an improvement.
Definitely, we have made some progress with respect to how many Nigerians who now are able to read and write. Where we are today is better than where we used to be in terms of absolute numbers. What we haven't been able to accomplish is to ensure that we have continued to improve the quality of education we provide young people in Nigeria. A lot of times you hear people say the standard of education has declined. That's not correct. The standard of education has continued to improve because we are demanding more from our children, we are demanding more from university lecturers, we are demanding more from both primary and secondary school teachers because we know that global standards have continued to rise and we are interested in playing at that level. But unfortunately for us, even when we are improving the standards, we are not making a deliberate effort to ensure that those standards are met. And so, unfortunately for us, most of the people who comment on these issues, they tend to confuse quality with standard. Standard has continued to improve, but quality has sometimes, even declined. And that's where we need to do some work.
Okay, so I'll need you to explain what you meant when you say quality of education has dropped, but the standard has not. What's the difference really? Because in the report that my colleague shared with us, there is an increase in the rate of literacy rate from 36% to 62%. And then we also have enrollment moving from 41% to 72%.
So that's exactly what I have acknowledged, that we have made significant progress with respect to absolute number of Nigerians who are now able to read and write. But because of the exponential increase of our population, it does look like not much has been accomplished, but that's not very correct. With respect to absolute numbers, we have grown in terms of how many Nigerians who are now able to read and write. Even with respect to digital literacy, more Nigerians now are able to get on the internet and interact with the rest of the world. And that's the truth of the matter. But when you look at what we do in our classrooms as teachers, as university lecturers, where we are is not where we should be because our laboratories are not what they should be. The quality of teachers we have remains very problematic because we are not training them to international standards. So the average Nigerian teacher is not able to stand in classroom and make the quality of his or her delivery engaging enough to want to make children, look forward to coming to school the following day. And that's not very, very good for us. We also don't pay teachers well. And so education, especially teaching specifically, has become a profession meant only for those who are not very ambitious. The very ambitious people who are very bright coming out of universities are no longer interested in stepping into classrooms to make it a profession. And that's because we disrespect teachers. We don't give them the recognition they deserve. The remuneration we pay them is nothing to write them about. The average Nigerian teacher today is not even earning up to the minimum wage. And don't forget that minimum wage is a salary that by law should be given to the person who doesn't even have any skill at all, who hasn't even gone to school, even primary school. But unfortunately for us, we have university, graduates who are not teachers standing in classrooms, who at the end of the month are not able to earn enough money to, qualify to be people who are earning minimum wage. And that's very shameful for us. And if that continues, what we are going to continue to see is that more people will quit classrooms and turn to trading, and many will actually, those who have superior academic credentials, will quit Nigeria and go to Senate climes, where their efforts will be recognized and the compensation package will be something that will make them want to remain in classrooms as teachers.
I might have missed your explanation on the quality versus standard, but we don't have time to go back to it. So I'll just ask you about your assessment of the commitment of various governments in the past 65 years to education? You just talked about the teacher welfare, the remuneration, and the low quality of the talent that go into that field. Would you say that there's been a consensus effort on the part of government over the past 6 to 5 years to exponentially improve the sector?
We have done poorly. Virtually every government we have seen since we gained our independence has not been a government that we can be proud of when it comes to recognizing education as an indispensable tool for moving ourselves forward as a country. It's difficult to remember any administration that has done well with respect to, for example, budgeting above 10% of annual income, annual revenue as a country, devoting it to education. We haven't been able to do that. Most of the time we stop at 7%. For a country at our level of development, what should be happening is that we shouldn't devote less than 15% of our salary, of our budget to improving the quality of education we give to our children. But unfortunately, because we don't have a clear philosophy that tells everyone that education is where we should begin the journey to development. And that's why most of these governments, probably because they train their own children abroad, I mean the politicians who run these governments, they train their children abroad. What? Yeah. So it's very unfortunate for us, and we need to do something very urgently to improve our circumstances.
Now, quickly, in 40 seconds, if you can, talk to us about the benefits that Nigerians, or rather how the Nigerian Education Loan Fund has impacted access to higher education, because that's something that came up a lot more with this administration, and what strategies we can use to increase access to education for marginalized groups such as out-of-school children. Okay, make that just 1 minute quick.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing that has happened in the education system. More people are now encouraged to want to go to university because they know that even if their parents don't have money, they can borrow money from government and go to school. So we give kudos to the current administration for bringing that to fruition. But we must recognize that it is a loan. They have to pay it back when they start working. Unfortunately for us, we know we live in a country where people graduate and they're not able to find jobs. So I'm hoping that before the beneficiaries of this loan get to the point where they have to retire the loans, maybe Nigeria would have progressed to a point where graduate unemployment would have declined to a level where everybody who is owing will be able to pay without going through enormous stress.
I second that wholeheartedly. Thank you very much, Doc, for speaking with us.
My pleasure.